welcome to the recap video, and if you're in Life Point, welcome to Life Point. Glad that you're part of the groups tonight, and we're recapping our service from Sunday. If you were here, you know how powerful the service was. If you're just checking in, you're just getting into a small group and you weren't here, this is my friend, my buddy Reiner Rojas, pastors in Las Palomares. Just Palomares?
Palmares, Costa Rica.
All right, so I've been saying Las, but Palomares, Costa Rica. And so he's been with us for the week, really. And so he shared this morning the last in our series of messages, the fight of faith. And I just want to recap a little bit. It's hard because there was so much good stuff, and there's so much more stuff that really that we could talk about. But just a real quick recap. I know what you were talking about was you opened up the service talking about the victories and some of the amazing things that you've seen God do, and sometimes it's easy for people when they hear our stories that they forget that there's actually a story within the story.
That's right.
And there's so much that's between the lines. So.
Yeah, I think we all have triumphs in our lives, but if you read carefully and you recap your life, you pretty much are guaranteed to have troubles, trials, times that you feel like giving up, and that's where your faith has to come in, and you got to activate your faith and continue believing that there will come a better day, So
some of the things that God, you made a statement about how God doesn't bring things into our life. He doesn't torture us. No parent wants to see their child suffer.
But he will use it, I mean, I don't think our problems and our trials come from everyday life. From God. I think they're just part of life. And some of them are a result of what our own actions, bring to our life, consequences, of our own decisions. Some of them are just because we live in a broken world, But I'm sure God is not provoking these things to happen in our lives. I think it will be against His nature. He loves us, but He definitely can use them to teach us something, to strengthen our faith, and to make us realize we need Him.
Yeah, one of the challenges, and I'm sure you experience the same thing in Costa Rica, is when we're called to minister to people and reach people, and we see them coming to life, as we say it here, Vive, and people are being brought to life, and then all of a sudden they face some things in their life. They have hard times, and they just start to isolate themselves, dwindle away. They're kind of it's kind of sidelines them. It's so hard.
Well, it's a temptation when problems come to our lives. We are tempted to have a mentality of I wish. I think this was part of our bottom line in this message is how to change our minds from an I wish mentality to an I know mentality. And we are tempted when trials come to our lives. We're tempted to wish, I wish God could respond. I wish God could do something. And we forget that we have to know, we have to believe, we have to be certain that God is on our side and that He will actually help us to get to the other side of these problems,
I like what you said to tie in with that about forgetting or not realizing that we are children of the palace, that we're children of the King, and we tend to forget that because can you just expound on that a little bit? Because I think that's so common. We don't really understand who we are, and that affects.
The problem I think is that as Christians it has just become an understatement that He's our King, that God is our King. And we forget that if He's our King, if He's our Father, we are children of the King, and that makes us His sons and daughters, and as sons and daughters, we have full access to His kingdom, full access to His resources, full access to His forgiveness and blessings and provision and healing, deliverance. And the problem is that Christians feel like strangers, like visitors, like they're just passing by, in the palace, in the castle, in the house of the king, and we're not,
Yeah.
When my kids open the fridge, they have full access. I don't like it.
Yeah.
They eat my leftovers, Sometimes I go home and I'm expecting to find my leftovers, but they have full access. They have that, they feel at home, and they feel like everything that is there is theirs
Yeah.
by default because they're my kids, And that's the way we should act with God, We have to know, God is on our side. We have to know He will provide. We have to know that we have full access to the King and His kingdom and the the manifestations of His power and love here on earth.
What do you think are some of the reasons why Christians feel that way or feel unworthy? And
Well, the lies. I mean, like we're talking in this message series, this is a fight, and God, and Satan has an agenda. Is to destroy us, to take away what it's
rightfully,
rightfully ours. And he wants to take it away, and I think he lies to us. And when we're in the midst of a storm of problems and all of these, it's so easy to listen to that because
Yeah.
it seems more real. Our struggles, our daily lives, our circumstances, they feel really real to us, and so we tend to forget who is on our side. Who is on our corner, and the punches that we're getting from life seem a lot more real, and we switch into defense mode, and we forget that we can also attack and regain the ground that Satan is trying to take from us.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, because I think people watching, I think there's a lot of ground that needs to be retaken.
Oh, yeah.
But in the deep recesses of their heart, maybe they don't really feel like they're capable of, or they're not worthy, they're not allowed to. But in reality, God has already equipped them. He's already
That's
given
right.
them what they need to take that stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe somebody needs to hear that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes too, we have our ears tuned in so much to the message that the enemy has out there. I'm not big on preaching against music and movies and all that and culture. And trying to fight against culture, but our culture is very much influenced by the enemy, and so the message that we listen to many times makes us feel like we're just kind of scum. We're lucky to be breathing, and that's not the truth.
Yeah.
But when I open God's Word and I start to read about it, and I start to see this is how God views me, that's transformational. And I don't think we're in the Word enough, obviously.
That's
and
right.
We're maybe not singing the right songs. Or
Yeah, well,
listening to the right stuff.
I think we all fall into that rhythm in different stages of our lives where we, for some reason, think that our relationship with Christ is only just Sunday morning, and if Satan is at work 7 days a week, 24/7, and we tend to think that our only relationship with God, our only contact with His presence, worship, and just hearing His voice is Sunday morning, which is great to come on Sunday mornings, but that's all you're getting. The rest of the week you're in for the count, because Satan is gonna be there. He's gonna keep trying, and it's up to you if you want to use those trials to learn something, to strengthen your faith, or if you want to give in and just put your guard down and let Satan punch you right on the face.
Yeah. A lot of times I think people, because they feel that tension, they feel the fight, in their life, and they back away, and what happens though is God wants to and has to grow our faith to a certain place if we're really going to step into what it is that we're called to do, and so we'll face that again if
That's
we,
right.
And I guess I've watched some people just back away and just stay away for a long time. It's frustrating. you
Yeah.
know. And I mean, I've felt that. You've felt that.
Yeah.
You said Sunday. There's times when I've felt like giving up, when we're planning to start this church.
You know what the beautiful thing is it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel like that. It's okay to walk away from home because you're always going to have your Father with open arms waiting for you to come back,
Yeah.
And that's something powerful because people tend to forget that, and they just feel like they have to earn it back. And it's not true. You just got to walk back home and say, hey, God, I'm here, you know.
Yeah.
And he's not even going to ask questions, you know. He's not interested on pointing fingers of what you did, you know. He just wants you back.
Yeah.
And he'll make it work, you know, again, and it's good, you know. It's good. You learn. We're not called to understand how God works, you know. It's impossible for us to understand how God works. I think we're called to just wait for him to answer, you know, obey him, wait for him to act, and trust in him, you know.
That's good. We're the first question in our life points is going to be, what are you believing God to do in your life? Or what do you have? And then this follow-up is, what do you have faith that God will do in your life? You raised that in that question in the message Sunday, and I think it's a great one. And I know you stepped away from a business that was very successful and growing here in the States in Indianapolis because you heard God calling you to
ministry,
to go to Costa Rica and help your dad with the church plant. And it's been a wild ride. There's been so many miracles that you've seen, but there's been a lot of challenges in the midst of it. What was it that you heard? What if you could help people understand that? Because sometimes, you know, here we are, we're right in the middle of something and it's going well, and when you hear things, you think, maybe that's the devil. Why would God call me away from this?
Well, I mean, you summarize everything by saying God called me to serve, you know, but in reality, it was a debate, you know. It was a debate that took a few months, you know. It wasn't like God with great voice telling me and me immediately obeying. Believe me, I have my bad days, and I didn't want to obey, you know. But it was God continuously pushing me to feel like it wasn't enough, you know, and then that He had something greater, and I wouldn't understand it because I was coming from struggling financially, from struggling to feed my kids and just provide for my family. And finally it's going well, and he's telling me leave everything behind and go serve me. And I'm like, again? Yeah, exactly, you know. And of course I didn't understand that, and it took a while. It took months for me to going back and forward with God, and all of a sudden all of these things became meaningless, you know. It's like Paul said, you know, I have all of these things mean nothing to me, you know. And I had a car, I had a house, I had a great job, you know, I had my own schedule, I was my own boss, but none of that felt like, I really felt like God had a greater purpose for our lives, and I was missing out. And if I wouldn't obey, I was going to miss out on that. And really, another secret is my wife, you know. She really, really helped me to come to understand, you know, you're not happy. You're not the same. You have everything you always wanted, but you're not the same. And we're missing at something. And if God is calling us, then we should go.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. That's cool.
When the boss talks, you got to obey, right?
That's right. We Sunday we talked about at the close of the service about the story of the school bus that you guys had that you drove down from Detroit,
Michigan,
from Michigan to Miami and put it on a boat, and then you guys had that in Costa Rica, and it was such a huge blessing to do ministry. There was so much you were able to do through it. That was the seed that had to be sown to plant that, to start that church and to get the permits and all of that purchased, and so we as a church said we want to raise $10,000, and I don't know, you know, that maybe you can speak to that, of how much is needed really, but we want to make sure that you have a bus for ministry again. Awesome. You know, and I know there's a lot of other needs as well, and so we'll have time. This is a partnership of ministry that is not ending. You know, it's not a short-term thing. This is we're in this fight together. It's always good to know that somebody else is in the ring. You know, but we want to do that as a church, and so some people are going to be watching this in Life Points, and maybe they weren't in the service, or maybe they heard it but they didn't give, and so I want to give them an opportunity. Or maybe you're watching it online on Facebook, and and you're just kind of checking this thing out. And what a great opportunity to be able to sow a seed into a ministry that is making a difference.
Yeah.
And very transparent, but very powerful what God is doing through you guys. And I appreciate it so much. It's not, you didn't come to us, just to clarify for everybody, you didn't come to us saying, hey, can you take an offering? You've never said that, you know. And but I think Proverbs 19:22. Anyway, there's a proverb that says, "He who has generous eyes will be blessed." And I can't believe I forgot that verse where it's at. But anyway, it's the ability to be able to know, okay, there's a need, and you know, be generous towards that need. And that's something that I think the Lord's put in my heart, is that that's a need for you guys. And so if you're watching the video online, if you're in Life Point, and maybe God lays on your heart to sow a seed and to be a part of what God is doing, to partner with y'all, you can give online. Go onto the Vive Church website and just mark Costa Rica, or you can write a check and send it to the church, mark it Costa Rica. Everything's going to go to you guys. And we're going to have a really cool story, hopefully very shortly, about how God has provided that bus, and just to continue to see what the Lord's doing. And there's an opportunity for people to go on a missions trip as well in Costa Rica this summer. We're doing a camp with you guys. And so, man, help us out, be a part of that. If you can't go, you say, I'd like to sponsor one of the kids to go. What's the cost for a kid to go to camp?
Well, everything, the whole week of the mission trip is about $550. That includes, we're going to sponsor a local kid to go to the camp with the kids that go from here. It includes, you know, lodging, food, materials, outreach materials. We're probably going to do an event in the community, so it includes everything, you know. And
so $500,
that's the idea.
$550,
Something like that,
someone could sponsor someone for camp.
That includes the cost of the people that go from here, and also sponsoring someone to go from the community down there in Costa Rica. And really, the bus comes in hand for all of these things. You know, our church is becoming relevant in other churches, and they're asking us to go do trainings and worship nights. They want to experience what we're doing in our church after they didn't really like it. But now they want us to go, and that's the plan, to have a moving ministry like we used to have, you know, to be able to go and bless other churches. We don't believe in just keeping everything for ourselves.
No, and that's obvious. I mean, that's why I think the Lord has connected our hearts, because there's a generosity that's there, and you know, and He wants to bless you so that He can bless people through you as well. So,
well, thank you.
Hey, thanks for coming out to Life Point, and thanks for taking the time to watch this video. And you could watch the whole service on our Facebook page, or also on our website, and see just how God has just kind of moved really through the heart of you know, your heart and the experiences that you've been through, and I appreciate your vulnerability, your transparency, and so thanks for being a part of Life Point. God bless you. Have a great week.
God bless you.